So the question today is, why hand tools? This very bench that I'm sitting next to here was built by myself recently, if you followed the series, and I built the entire bench with hand tools. So it was a lot of work, definitely a struggle for me, definitely very intense skill-wise, and many are wondering, why hand tools? Some people might say, I mean, these hand tools have been replaced with power tools for a reason. They make things easier, they make things faster. Why would you waste your time bringing back these old tools that are outdated and don't really have a place anymore? Well, I'm going to give you a few reasons why I still have these hand tools. So for starters, if you're using those power tools you have safely and properly, here's the experience that I get from it. So you go over, you flip that switch, machine fires up, screeching. Most of these machines, a table saw, a router for example, a table router, they're turning so fast and they're so loud that, well, really, you should have ear protection on. They're so loud. Definitely eye protection. That's the most important, is your eye protection. These things are turning so fast, got to cover up the eyes, and they produce such small, fine shavings. You should have a mask on, something to stop you from inhaling all that dust. To me, that's not a good time. You have that intimidation factor of these machines screeching. There's nothing I hate more than when you turn on a table router and that high RPM is just outrageously intimidating. Now, switch that over to my hand tools here, and this is the experience you get. So you can't even compare the two, in my opinion. These hand tools are so quiet. Eye protection, sure, is a great thing always, anything you're doing in the shop, but it's not necessary with these hand tools. There's nothing flying around, there's no fine dust to need a mask, there's no noise. At the start of this bench project, when Ray and I started planing down the leg posts for this, two of us were there in the shop running the planes. Was quiet, we were talking, laughing, having a great time. If he had been there and I was using the table saw and the jointer and etc. to do that same job, there would have been no communication. We would have been both there with ear and eye protection on, would have been a racket, and there would be no fun. Let's say you're trying to joint a piece of lumber. Option A, got my jointer plane here. The worst I'm probably going to get hurt with this is if I drop it on my foot. Probably not going to have a good time. When I try running it through my table jointer, it's a different story there. Let's say it grabs the wood, shoots it back at you, hits you in the torso, breaks a rib. Hits you in your arm, you're bruised up. Let's say even worst case scenario, I've seen known table saws to haul people into the blade, boards grab and they haul your hands with it and you don't have a chance and your hand runs in. My grandfather actually had that. His hand went right on a table saw blade because he was milling a small piece of board, and it grabbed the piece of board, threw his hand on the blade, and he never recovered from it. Just a terrible, terrible tragedy. These tools don't offer that same risk. Going further into the safety issue, think about your children and trying to teach people that aren't familiar with these tools, like kids for example, trying to teach them about woodworking. It's important, I feel, to get kids building and crafting with their hands. Woodworking is a great way to do that. Are you going to get your kid in pushing wood through a table saw, using the chop saw? Many of you probably, maybe you would. I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. Starting them out with tools like this, giving them a little plane. This is a lovely little Stanley No. 4. Let them push this around for a half hour. Get some exercise in, and you don't have to worry. Give them a chisel. Not a big deal. Obviously supervise them. If these chisels are as sharp as mine, you want to keep an eye on it. But there's no huge risk like losing a hand or losing a limb, breaking an arm. Hand tools just don't have that risk. Another thing I want to bring up without getting too apocalyptic for you guys is that these tools don't need any more to run them other than a person, okay? These power tools you might have, they need electricity. And right now we have lots of comfort. We live in a Western society. Everything's great. We may not always have that situation where you can flip on the power in your shop, plug into the wall, and run these tools. What happens then if you don't have another way to build or another way to craft? These tools, like I said, they'll last for hundreds and hundreds of years if maintained properly and never need anything more than a person to push them. So again, I get it. If you're a carpenter or you're working with wood to make a living, you need a lot of production. You need to be fast in this world we're living in now. Totally get that. But for the everyday man, for the common person who just enjoys woodworking, in my opinion, hand tools are the way to go. Highly recommend it. If you haven't delved into this area in the past, start. Pick up tools. Have a look around at yard sales. Start building your collection. You don't need much with hand tools to get started. That's the great thing about it. A few basic tools, you can build almost anything. Hope this video helped you out, gave you some insight as to why I'm using the hand tools. Like I said, recommend you go out and get some for yourself. Good on you for those guys who are already building these collections. It's great. I don't think you'll ever regret it. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave me a comment down below if you can think of any other reasons I haven't mentioned that make these hand tools so awesome. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. See you in the next video.